Welcome. I am absolutely delighted to have everybody here today for this primary session on Adobe Express, and I'm particularly delighted to have Ruth and Dom from Adobe Express who are going to be presenting. So I'm just going to pass over and let them introduce themselves.
Great. Thank you so much. I'll start. So my name is Ruth and I'm the engagement manager. I know it's a bit of a funny title, but I basically look after the relationships between myself and all the local authorities across Scotland. So it's a pleasure to be here. Um, Please keep the chat active if you've got any questions. I will be manning the chat and Dom will be running the session. So feel free to ask if you need anything. No question is too silly, or just pop your hand up and you can unmute yourself, whatever you feel most comfortable doing. If I can also get you to log into Express, you'll be able to get into it through your Glow Launchpad. Everyone has access to it, including all of your students. So it's always a lot more fun when you're able to do it alongside us as well. I will also put in there's an evaluation form, so you can get the QR code and I'll put in the link as well. I'll do it at the start and at the end just to make sure that I definitely did remind you to do it, or else I'll get in trouble with Pam. But yeah, just let me know in the chat if you've got any other questions. And without further ado, I'll hand over to Dom.
Thank you very much. And just on the point of that evaluation, even if you think this session is rubbish, just say it's good. Otherwise, Ruth's going to kill me. Honestly, she rules this place like with an iron fist. She's like the Northern Irish version of Maggie Thatcher. So please just, be nice. Right. What we're going to do is we're going to do a couple of things in Express. I think it's a good idea to follow along. You don't have to do everything that we do, but you certainly should go back, have a look at what we're doing, have a little go yourself, even if it's just you do like a patchy job of what we're doing. That's absolutely fine. Your job is not to come out with like a squeaky clean kind of perfect couple of projects here. It's just to start playing around with buttons, getting a more confidence, a bit more of a feel. Just so that you don't think I'm a complete charlatan, I did teach primary for about 8 or 9 years. Couldn't manage the full 9th year, I don't think it was. Before I kind of moved into this kind of role. And if you think that Ruth's job title is a bit of a weird one, mine's education evangelist. That's a terrible title. So mine's much worse. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to share my screen. I'm going to include sound just in case we start doing some funky stuff. And you're going to be following along and having a little go yourselves. Right. One thing that would be really useful for you to do is open up this link here, bit.ly/express MWS Maths Week Scotland. It's a really good idea to do that because we're going to be using some data in here. And every time I zoom in on this thing does not want to let me zoom out. So what I'm going to do is just refresh the page. Okay. But I'm sure that big scary boss lady, Ruth, will probably put it in the chat for me anyway. There we go. I'm going to have to reload the whole thing. Okay, cool. So for last year's, not this year's, for last year's Maths Week Scotland, we did kind of this Scottish population infographic. This is a good one because it kind of gets us to use text and also images and also data, which is, something you might be doing in history or geography or maths or whatever. So it's a kind of a good thing, kind of gives us a good spread of things that we can do. Okay. And then the other tab you should have open is Express. So if you've never seen Express before, and actually let's just have a little, if you could just put in the chat, what is your experience of Express? Give me a number 1 to 5. 1 is I've never touched the damn thing in my life. And 5 is, and I'm absolutely like red hot at it. Where are you on a scale of 1 to 5? That would be great. And Ruth, when you've got a few numbers, do let me know because for whatever reason, I can't see the chat.
Ones and twos.
1s and 2s. Oh, amazing. Welcome to the rest of your life. This is a good day. Right. So let's have a look at this. So this is the kind of home page. You've got lots of these kind of hero tiles. These are things that you can, open up. These might be like quite regular things that you open up. You have your stuff. I've got loads and loads and loads of things. When I'm in a good mood, I'll sometimes put it into folders. More often than not, I'm not in a good mood, so I won't put it into folders. But if I go back home here, one of the other things that you can do is, as well as all of these kind of hero tiles on the front, you can go to the plus, and you can start to create anything from here. Okay, so we're going to start something from here, and we're looking for a 16 by 9 landscape. Okay, 16 by 9 landscape. So I'm going to give that a click. Now, let's get rid of some of this nonsense. Just want like a nice clean page here. Now, the first thing we're going to do is I'm going to rename my file Renfrewshire demo 1. Okay. Now, the reason why I rename it is because once you start using this quite a lot, and especially if you use it from year to year, often you'll create stuff and you won't know where to find it or how to find it unless you give a keyword. You won't find it like through the hundreds of untitled projects, so definitely do that. Okay, so what are we going to do here? Well, the first thing we're going to do is kind of create the background of a graphic so that we can make a sort of infographic like this using some of these bits of data here. Okay, so I'm going to do this kind of loosely based on the Scottish flag. It won't be exactly like the Scottish flag because it's not quite split up in the way that it would make it really easy to put data in. So I know that this is going to be a little bit left field, but go with me anyway. So I'm going to do background color, select that at the top there, more colors, and then I think this is the closest color that we could get. Right, so there's your background and it's in there. Okay, the next thing for you to do is on the left-hand side. Now, let me just show you here, right, we've got media, text, and elements. These three things are the places where you will go most: media, text, and elements. Okay, so but today we're also going to do charts and grids. So this is where we're going to be. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is go to elements. Now, within elements, there are design assets. You can see that at the top here. There are backgrounds, there are shapes, there are icons, and there are stickers. All right. Now, design assets are typically things made by designers, like really cool things that you can put in there. Things that would be really hard to make in Express, and they've been made in things like Photoshop and Illustrator and the like. But what you need right now is to go to icons. And I'm going to search in icons. Now, these are great for things like infographics. You'll be in here all the time. But I'm actually going to search for a cross, right? Now, it gives me lots of religious crosses. I don't actually need it to be a religious cross. I want it to be this kind of nice thin one here, okay? I'm going to click that, and it goes right of my page. Okay. Now, let me X out of this. You see the X at the top there? X out of it. And then I'm going to click it on my kind of canvas here. Now, whenever you click anything in Express, your options to edit it will come up on this left-hand side here. So it doesn't matter what you do, whenever you click something, options come up. Right. Now, what I want to do is I want to kind of spin it. Now, if I was going to be really sort of true to the Scottish flag, I would have it, split up like this kind of thing. Now, I want it to go right across my page, but I'm running out of space now. So I'm going to use 2 fingers on my trackpad, and I'm going to zoom out a bit. All right. Now I can play around with this a bit more. Now I'm going to do the unthinkable and kind of not make this quite like the Scottish flag, as you might hope, but just enough so I can get my data in kind of 4 quadrants here. All right. Something like that. All right. And I know that's not quite right, but hey, gives us better space to work with. And maybe I'll put it on a bit more of an angle like this. Okay. Right. Let's get going. So I've kind of got this weird version background of the Scottish flag on here. I'm using my 2 fingers to zoom in and out, zoom in and out. You can also use this thing up here. you can zoom to fit page, and it'll give you a nice kind of chunky viewpoint there. Okay, so let me name this infographic. So I'm going to go to T for text on the left-hand side. I'm going to go to add your text. And then it brings up here, it's already highlighted, so I can just start writing key data on Scotland. Right, no capital letters, no regard for, general literacy. Isn't this an absolute travesty? Yes, but let me show you something. So if I go, with this piece of text selected here, you can see if I deselect it by clicking in the gray area and then get rid of this, when I select it again, all my options come up on the left-hand side. Deselect it, all the options come up on the left-hand side. Right. Now, the best button in Express is under here, under text layouts. I'm going to click it, and I'm going to go to dynamic. Now, what does that mean? Capitalized text that scales to fill the text field. What does that mean? Let's have a click. Okay, click it, and now look, whatever happens, whatever I do with my text, it will always resize itself kind of in a kind of box, yeah? So quite like that. It's way too big. Maybe I'll stretch it out a bit more, something like that. Yeah, that's fine. Now, the color is awful. It doesn't really do any favors to anybody. Also, the font's pretty bad as well. Now, you can go into your recommended fonts here, and you could, maybe go into standout headings and view all. And, within here, I'm looking for something kind of, oh, that was good. Bungee regular. Great. Nice and chunky. I like it. If I go back here, back, and back again, I'm back here to my kind of editing window. Now, I want my text color to be, I want it to be an orange, like I in Brew, for example. Now, if I go to more colors here, hasn't quite got the shade I'm looking for. So I'll need to go to custom. Let me open custom. And then here you can move this slider like disco lights all across the top. I'm looking for the oranges, which is right about here. And then on the box below, move your slide. And you can see that my text is changing at the same time, yeah? Maybe that's the one I need. Okay, let me just get rid of that. Nice. Okay, that's my fill color. That's the one down here, your fill color. Now, next to my fill color is this white one with the red strike through. That's my outline color. And I'm going to give it a white outline. Nice. That helps it pop off the page. And then also next to it is outline thickness, this button here. So if I give that a click, I can bring my outline thickness up. Okay, nice. This is good. So key data on Scotland, this is looking fantastic. Now, let's start playing around with some images. Because what I want is, I'm going to put like a piece of data. I've got my title in the top left. I'm going to put a piece of data in the top right, piece of data in the bottom left, piece of data in the bottom right. But I also want there to be kind of like an image which relates to each quadrant, okay? So key data on Scotland, what I'm going to do is go across to media on the left, give media a click. And then I'm going to go to photos. And then this is your stock library. Everything is free. Everything is filtered for educational use. So none of those things that you used to search for when you were a wee teenager. So I'll put Scotland in there. And of course, we get all of the classics. Highland cows, don't they look great? Okay, now I could put this in here. Now it doesn't quite fill my quadrant, so I might need to kind of pull that out there. Maybe I'll even need to put it on a bit of an angle as well. And stretch it out a bit. So I'm using the corner handles to scale it, but then I'm also using the bottom, top, and side handles to kind of get it in the right position, right? And they're kind of crop handles, right? Now that's good. That's where I want it. The only problem with this is it's in front of my text, and it's also in front of my cross. I don't want either of those things to happen. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click in my layer stack. This is your layer stack on the right-hand side here. It's your layer stack. I'm going to click, and I'm going to drag. I'm going to bring it down, and I'm going to bring it down. And then suddenly, there we go. It's in a kind of nice position there. I like it. Now, I'm going to delete this now because I think it's more fun if I show you how to use generative AI, okay, to create your image. Okay, so let me delete that. I also think I need to pull this down just a little bit, maybe just spin it a little bit. There we go. Okay, so I'm going to use generative AI because that's more fun. Because when you select media and you go into photos, you have got your kind of stock library, which you can choose from here. Yeah, thousands and thousands of results for Scotland. You can also upload from your device, which is there, but you can also do generate image. So I'm going to click that button. Now I want a 16 by 9 because this whole canvas is 16 by 9 as a ratio. And what I want to do is I want to put one in each quadrant. So 16 by 9 is good. Now it says describe what you'd like to see. Okay, so we've got a blank box here, and I am going to do that. I'm going to describe what I want to see. So man playing bagpipes, wearing traditional Scottish clothes, standing on a mountain overlooking a loch. Okay, and then I'll go art, content type. I think I'll go to photo. I want this to make it look as real as possible. I'm not worried about any of these styles because they're more for when you select things like graphic or art. I'm just going to go for photo, and then I'm going to click generate. Okay. What's it going to give me? Are you going to give me 4 results here? And then I get to choose which one I think's best. 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm going to go with number 2. I think that one's the best. Great. Now, I do like this photo a lot. I'm going to start getting into the right position here. Okay. It's just a little bit not in the right place. There we go. That's good. Now, before I send this behind my text and behind my cross, there's something I don't like about this image. And I don't like the fact that I forgot to ask for some Highland cows on it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click in the gray area and then I click back on my image. And now all the options for me to play around with this image are on the left-hand side. So I've got remove background, don't want to do that. Don't want to erase anything. Don't want to remove any objects. I do want to insert an object. So I'm going to click insert, describe what you'd like to see, Highland cow. Brush size 40, yeah, that's okay. And I'm just going to brush where I want that Highland cow to be. And it's going to be right here next to my bagpipe player. And then I'm going to click insert. Now, this is a really good way to get the kids excited about using specific words, specific vocabulary. It's a really good way to get like historically relatively accurate results about things. Look at that, number 1, number 2, number 3, and number 1's definitely the best. So I'm going to keep that. Wonderful. Okay, and then I'm going to click close at the bottom here. And then all I have to do, like last time, is click in my layer stack, bring it down behind the text, and bring it down behind the cross as well, and then dump it there. Now, my bagpipe man is being kind of obscured a bit, so maybe I'll bring this up. And this is the good thing about dynamic text, you see, because now I'm thinking, well, my text is in front of his face, poor fella. So maybe I'll do that with my dynamic text. Perfect little box still of text. Wonderful. I can move on. Right. Well, actually, before I move on, let me show you something. Now that I've put my bagpipe generative AI with Highland cow image right at the back here, it's kind of difficult for me to click on it and work on it because every time I try and click on it, it's selecting the cross. So if you have trouble with that, you can just go and select it in your layer stack. Okay. Now, just before I move on with this, I went to a lot of trouble of doing my blue background here. So what I'm going to do is, with my image selected, I'm going to go to opacity. I'm going to reduce the opacity. And then I'm going to use the screen blend mode. And that means all the light pixels will be kept and all the dark pixels will be discarded. So I'll click that, and it just gives this kind of like blue haze to it, which I think works out well. Okay. Are you all with me still? If there's any problems or anything, let me know in the chat. And Ruth, I'm sure, will let me know that I'm doing an awful job. But otherwise, I'm going to keep on steaming on. Okay. Let me just bring this text up a little bit. There we go. Right. I went to a lot of trouble to make this text. So what I'm going to do is, rather than kind of start from scratch and do another piece of text again, I just select it, and then you've got this little box here. You see? Rewrite, put a link in, bin it, or click the three dots, and you can go to duplicate. Okay, so my next bit of data, if I go back here, is population of Scotland, 5.5 million people. That's the one I'm going to do now. Okay, so over here on the right hand side, I'll put population of Scotland. There we go. And then what I think I'll do is put that onto 2 lines, I think. Maybe I'll put it there. Okay, and then go back and select this again, duplicate it, and then clicking it 3 times and change this to 5.5 million. Cool. So there we go. That looking pretty good. Now, just like we did before, I'm going to find an image to go in that quadrant. Okay. So what I'm going to do here, instead of, let me pretend that I've got nothing on the screen at the moment. I'm going to go over to media on the left-hand side. I'm going to go to photos. And this time I'm going to search for crowd. I'm trying to get across that kind of feeling of there being loads and loads of people, 5.5 million people. And I think something like this would work nicely. Okay. So let's get this in the right position. I'm going to pop it in here in my top right. There we go. You do have these like pink alignment tools. You might see them popping up all over the place. That's telling you that you are aligned to certain things on your canvas. So I'm going to drag this back into about there. Just bring it up ever so slightly. And then don't forget what we're doing to these images. We're going to with it selected, you're going to opacity. You're going to screen it. And then you're going to reduce the opacity by about 50%. And then, last but not least, make sure it's at the back underneath the cross. Okay, so I'm just dragging it down until it's underneath the cross. Perfect. Okay, maybe I can make this 5.5 million even bigger. You can always go in and change things like the outline thickness. That one disappeared for whatever reason. Okay, nice. We've got a title. We've got our first bit of data. Now let's go and have a look at another bit of data. 8% of the UK's population. That is what Scotland is. It's 8% of the UK's population. So let's go into charts and grids. Okay, charts and grids on the left-hand side. Give it a click. Now these are really useful, very useful for representing data. So we're going to go to View All in Charts. I'm going to scroll down until I see all the progress donuts. Let me view all those. And I think this one is going to be good. This kind of third one here. So give it a click. All right, something selected. Everything you can do to it is on the left-hand side. So 8% of the UK's population is in Scotland. So let's change this to 8. Now, if you're kind of struggling to change it like this, you can just go in and type 8. Okay. Now this is going to go in my kind of bottom right quadrant here, but the colors are off. Okay. So let's start working on the colors. Let's change our 8% font to something bold. Let's change it to white. Let's also change the colors in our progress donuts. You can see that you can flip them around like that, or you can define what you want them to be. So I think I want them to be, the fill color can be, well, I tell you what, why don't we make it the same orange as we've got in our text? And there's a really clever way to do this, because when you select this kind of fill box, this fill color box, you have a dropper tool. Okay, there's a dropper tool right there. Click on that dropper tool and then go and hover over the orange you need. Nice. And then for your other fill color, maybe I'll make that white. Yeah, that works out well, I think. Okay, so it's 8%. 8% of what? Of the UK's population. So let me grab population of Scotland, 3 dots, duplicate it, bring that new duplication down. Could always, you see the way it's aligned to the one at the above? That looks good. 8% of the UK's population. Okay, nice. Now, what else could we could put a photo in this quadrant as well. It's a bit of a small quadrant, but that's okay. What I might do instead, if I get rid of all of that, is I might go into elements and let's go and have a look at some design assets. So let's go to design assets, search design assets and put UK map. Okay, nice. Now, the good thing about these things is that they don't have backgrounds, or very often they don't have backgrounds. So let's, do you know what? This blue one's pretty good, I think. Here we go. And then I'll pop it in here. That's not quite accurate because the Republic of Ireland is in there, but I'm not going to split any hairs. But I'm going to put that there. And then, just like we have been doing with our photos, what I think I'll do is I'll bring that UK map down in my layer stack until it's underneath of the UK's population. There we go. Nice. Now, if you were really fussy, you could go in there, select that image. Let me just zoom in on it a bit. Select that image, and you could go to erase. And rather than a brush being a quick selection, you could do a circle brush. And then you could just like take out the bit you don't need. I mean, I'm doing a bit of a butchery job here, but say like it's about that, something like that. And there we go, something like that. Just gonna trim off the corners so it doesn't look so obviously circumspect. There we go, that'll do. That's just to show you that tool. I wouldn't necessarily have done that otherwise. Okay, 8% of the UK's population. Nice. Okay, let's move on to this kind of final bottom left quadrant here. And this is a good one. So let me go back to charts and grids. Let me come out of the progress donut by using this back arrow here. Let's go to bar charts and view all. Right. I want a nice clean bar chart, but I must have a key because once a primary teacher, always a primary teacher. It's got to have a key. So this one here, I think, is the one I'm going to choose. So give that a click. Now, let's bring it into our bottom left quadrant here and start working on it. Okay. First thing I think is you can't read the text. Item 1, item 2, item 3, item 4. Right. Let's change the color of that text. Click into that black fill color. Change it to white. Click the bold. And then what I want to do is I want to make sure that all of these all of these items down here are either all on one line or they're kind of bunched up on 2 lines. So let's see how we can play this. Something like there you go, either on one line like that, or yeah, I was trying to pop it onto 2. It's not, doesn't want to do it. Let's put it onto one line. That all looks good. Right. So we need to play around with the colors on this. We need to play around with the text. So Scotland has 8 cities, but we're just going to do the 4 largest ones. 4 largest ones, okay? Glasgow, Edinburgh, Aberdeen, Dundee. Okay, so item 1 is going to be Glasgow. The next one is going to be Edinburgh. Next one's going to be Aberdeen. And this one's going to be Dundee. Okay, cool. Now, You can see it's already gone back onto kind of 2 lines. Yeah, 2 lines here. There we go. That's what I wanted it to do. Something like that. Okay. Now, let's change the colors on these. Let's go for a green. Edinburgh, let's go for a purple. Aberdeen, let's go for a red. Yeah, this one will do. And then Dundee, let's go for an orange. Okay, something like that. Now, if you wanted it to be the same as the orange in your text, don't forget you would use that dropper tool, this one right here, that one. Give it a click, hover over a bit of yellow, and now it's changed. Perfect. Okay, now let's zoom back out a bit. Now, let's get the values in there. So we've got 635, 530, 230, and 149. Okay, so 6, I can't remember if this is exactly right, but it's roughly 520. This one is 230. Oh, 1, 2, 3. And then this last one is about 129, something like that. Okay. Now, what you'll see when you're doing this is that all the data stays in proportion, no matter how you kind of resize this, it all stays in proportion, which is nice. You can also resize it up if you need to. So I'm going to stick it around about there, maybe center it a bit more. Nice. And then all I need to do is tell people what this is. So I'll go to population of Scotland. I go to the 3 dots. Well, let's get rid of teams out the way. Yep, there you go. There we go. Got another one there. And then three taps and you're into editing the text. 4 largest cities. Okay, and don't forget you can, it's dynamic. So I'll put it like about there, I think. And then there we go. Now, the only thing that I might add is like a picture of Glasgow in the background, seeing as it's the largest city. Why not? So let's go to media, search photos, Glasgow, and then I kind of like this one of the water. That's good. Put it in the bottom left. Just a quick reminder of what we're doing here. We're resizing it. We might have to crop it a little bit so that it kind of fits in our space. And then we need to change the opacity, go down to about 50, screen it so that the light pixels stay in, but the blue background is allowed to come through. And then last but not least, we grab it and we bring it down in our layer stack until it's behind the cross. Okay, nice. There we go. Now, that is how you make an infographic. That's how you play around with text. That's how you play around with charts and data. That's how or charts and grids even. And that's also how you manipulate things like images and generative AI and stuff like that. Now, in terms of sharing work, you've got different ways in which you can do it. First one is you can invite someone to this project. That might be a good thing for your school, might not be. You can download it in the kind of traditional way, and you'll be able to download it and put it on a drive or whatever. It's taking longer than normal. Why is that? Come on, get on with it. Let me give it a kick. Yeah, so I've given it a kick, for example. There we go. Because Express is always saving your work all the time. All right, it's saving your work all the time. And the file format, you can try PDF print if you like and download that. Otherwise, you can click share. You can send it to Google Classroom, Microsoft Teams, send it to Google Drive, OneDrive, whatever it is, or you can create a view-only link. And this means that you can create a URL, which you can share with whoever you like, or you could put it onto a class spreadsheet with your name, or you could put it into like a newsletter or whatever it is you want to do. You can create a view-only link, and that's a URL. It's not indexed on Google or anything like that, but if someone copies that URL and then puts it into a browser, then they'll be able to see your work. And that meant that you didn't have to save it or download it or anything like that. It's exactly there for you. Okay. I'm going to go on to something else now, but I do want to kind of pause just to see if there's anything that anybody wants to ask or any feedback. If you're like, I need to see this in order to, in order to be happy. Let's get all of those things up now. Anything at all, Ruth, in the chat, or any people with any incredibly negative comments that I can head off at the pass?
We have
Lorraine's got
Lorraine.
her hand up.
Come on.
Dominic, that's an absolutely phenomenal piece of software. I can't wait to sink my teeth into it. There's only one question I may have missed the
Oh,
beginning of
God.
it.
Oh,
So
God.
no. So the stack at the right-hand side.
Yes.
So is the stack just where you've actually positioned things, in front, behind? What is
Okay.
the purpose of a stack, and should it be in a specific order? That's the only question I
Right.
have.
Yeah. No, that's a good one. The way to think of it, how do people think of a stack? I mean, I think of it almost like a birthday cake, I suppose. Whatever's at the
Okay.
top, you're going to see first. Do you know what I mean? People think about it different ways. People think about it as layers. I sort of feel that doesn't work for me sometimes. It depends. Like some things will be really low down in your stack, and you'll be like, "Oh, is that good or bad?" Doesn't really matter. What matters is, so like you've got, so like I've got four larger cities here, right?
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't matter what that is. The only thing that matters is that it's in front of the cross. That's the only thing that matters. So if I go four larger cities and bring it down here in my stack, it doesn't make any difference because it's not affected by the data. The only thing it
Okay.
needs to be in front of is the cross, because as soon as I put it behind the cross, it goes
It's
basically.
disappeared. Yep.
Yeah,
Okay.
so
That makes sense. Yep. Okay. Thank you very much.
So that's the thing you've got to be careful of. Otherwise, you see it's disappeared behind the cross there,
Yep.
you see. Otherwise, it could be like, it can be one above the cross, or it could be like top of the whole thing. Doesn't really matter, as long as it's in front of the cross.
Okay.
You also have the ability to go into more here, and you can send to back, send backward, those kind of things. So that's another way of doing it as well. If you just like, I only want it to go up one level. I think I just find the stack to probably be a more visual way of thinking about it. But if that doesn't
Okay.
work for you, don't worry about it. Just go to the three dots and send it to wherever you want.
Okay. Thank you very much.
No problem. Okay. That is an excellent question from Lorraine. She gets a house point and a sticker.
And
Right.
we had one comment from Michelle saying, yours look lovely. I struggle to keep up. Michelle, absolutely not a problem. Dom does this on a daily basis for his job. There's so many things that you can do within the tool. And, it's one of the first times that you've maybe come across it. It's maybe one of the first times you're using it. But the more you use it, you will just really start to get to know it, and you'll be able to find your own flair with it and what you're doing on it. So don't feel pressure to keep up with what he's doing. I think there's just so much that we want to show you, and that we really want to, give you the option to do. So do not worry whatsoever.
Yeah, definitely. I'd agree with that. Do you know how many times I've done this infographic? Probably about 40. So if it looks easy, it's because I've done it 40 times. But it is a really good one for you to understand how the tool works. And so if yours doesn't look like this, neither did mine the first time I did it. The most important thing is that you don't have to make it look like me, but you have to make sure that you're pushing and prodding and testing and tracking and all the rest of it. Just play with it. And if yours looks a mess at the end, that's okay. But if you understand how to use layers, if you understand how to click on something and the left-hand side comes up and you can start playing with it and flicking around your things and increasing your outline thickness and stuff like that, or changing your fonts, that's all good. And using the back button, didn't talk about that, the back button. If you do something really silly like I just did, you just undo it, and that's fine. Okay.
Sorry,
Now,
we've got one more question,
go on.
Dom.
Yeah.
When I opened a poster, it was portrait. How do you change the size to landscape?
Yeah, no worries. So you might well have done that if I go back here, for example, and do create a poster, and then this typically comes in portrait, like the person said. So you can go to resize in the top left here, and you could resize. And I mean, I often think they don't make it very easy for you to resize, but then you could just go like A3, and then you just say portrait or landscape. Well, if I select landscape, then you can resize, and then it'll just flip it around for you. If I was in my version now and I was like, oh no, like, you know, Miss Thompson said that it had to be portrait, I would go to resize, probably go to A3, and I would go, okay, A3 portrait. She said it had to be portrait. And then probably what I would do here is I would duplicate and resize, because I'm just a bit concerned that it might not work as well as I might hope. Because there you go. Now it's giving me a second version, and this isn't what I wanted. But what I might do here is like click and drag, select it all, and start like giving it major heart surgery. I mean, I've gone a bit far, do you know what I mean, to change the orientation here, but it's definitely possible. You need to go in and work on it. But if you made yours in a portrait style, don't worry about it, isn't it? Because I was trying to make it look sort of vaguely like the Scottish flag, and it doesn't really anyway, so I won't worry about it too much. Okay. What I want to do then is I want to let me just go in and delete that, because I wanted to actually show you how to make another page in these things. Right. So this is a project, right? This is a file. This is on our Scottish infographic, right? If you look in, you know, I wouldn't do this. Just watch my screen if I'm doing it. If you look at your stuff now, you can see how many times I've just come back from demos upon demos for about 4 days, and I've got so many of these graphics. So if yours doesn't look like this, there's a reason. You know, I've done this loads. But your file now exists within your stuff. All right. But within your file, you can add more pages to your file, right? So next to add page is the 3 dots here, all right? If you click that, you can duplicate this, right? Why would you want something of the same? Because I want to just show you what it means when we say Adobe Express is an all-in-one editor, okay? So now I've got 2 of exactly the same file, okay? Now I want to, I did loads of work on this first one, and it's a static graphic, and I can download it as a PNG or JPEG or PDF or whatever. But on my second one, I want to start playing around with it. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn this static graphic into something which is time-based. Essentially, it becomes a video. Okay, so what am I going to do here? I'll show you a couple of ways in which I'm going to do this. First of all, I want to get rid of my guy in a kilt with the bagpipes and the Highland cow. Now I'm struggling to select it because, like we said before, because it's at the back in my layer stack and my cross is in front of it, and my cross is so big, it's kind of hard to select it. But I can select it in my layer stack, right? I can select it in my layer stack, and I'm going to bin it. Okay. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go to media on the left-hand side. And then across the top here, I'm going to select videos. Okay. Now I've got different options here. I could record myself. Let's do that. Record myself. There I am. Hello, everybody. Right. What I'm going to do is I'm going to start recording, and I'm just going to say, here's my infographic on key data in Scotland. Hello, good afternoon, and welcome to my key data infographic on Scotland. Just make up something completely random, and then I'm going to go save recording. Now, that's gone in there. Okay, fantastic. Now, what do I want to do with this? Well, first of all, it's absolutely massive. So I'm going to reduce it down. I'm going to bring it over here, and there we go. Now, that looks absolutely terrible. Let's make it a bit more palatable. Now, I'll kind of crop it in here, and then on the left-hand side, you can see I've got a remove background tool. Okay, so if you're ever using green screen in your class, like forget about it, you don't need it anymore. because this will remove the background of any video and any photo. It doesn't really matter. All right, and I'm going to have myself as the kind of presenter.
Hello, good afternoon, and welcome to my key data infographic on Scotland.
Nice. So it's kind of you can see they've got the spinning wheel of death there. Oh no, the spinning wheel of goodness, of course, and it's gonna there it is. Nice. Now that I've put that in there, my graphic has turned itself into a video, and look, I've got this edit timeline thing on here. I'm gonna give that a click. I'll click this, make it a bit bigger, maybe. Man, that's way too big. I just want to have enough round about there, but I don't want my kind of shoulders. This is just looking weird, isn't it? So why don't it needs to be just enough to be in the cross, and then I'm going to put it underneath the cross again. So down my low stack, there we go. And I've got myself as a little kind of weird presenter in here.
Hello, good afternoon, and welcome to my key data infographic on Scotland.
Okay, now that's all good. But let's say that you really don't want to do that. I'm going to click it in my layer stack and I'm going to delete it because there's another way of doing it. And you could go animate characters. What does this do? It opens up this kind of library of over 200 weird and wonderful characters. Who do I want? Do I want Janice? Yeah, let's have Janice. What background do I want? I want no background. I want a transparent background. So I'm going to click that. And I've got a record button. I've also got an enhanced speech button. Now, if you're getting everybody to record in your class at the same time, your head's going to explode. But if you use this enhanced speech little toggle and put it on, I promise you that all the background noise will be gone. Honestly, you've got to try it. It really, really works. I can promise you. I'm going to turn it off because it takes slightly longer to process and stuff like that. But let me record. Hi, and welcome to my infographic on key data from Scotland. Okay, now it's going to upload that little graphic. It's listening to my voice. It's going to start lip syncing. There you go, computing lip sync. It'll listen to the kind of things I'm saying. If they know it's a question, they might bring their hands up like this. If they feel like I'm angry, they might furrow their brow like that. And essentially what it's going to do, because it's on transparent, it's just going to sit in my page like some kind of presenter. So kids love this, and it's a really good way to get them doing speaking and listening. If you X off this now, Janice is there. Good old Janice. We love Janice. We'll put her in there. And then again, I'll bring her down in my layer stack underneath the cross. That's all we need. And then give it a play.
Hi, and welcome to my infographic on key data from Scotland.
Nice. Okay, don't worry about that. Sometimes it does that at the end. It's just processing itself, really. And then also the thing I'm going to do is I'm also going to add some audio. So you can see down the bottom here, you've got this kind of full timeline going on. So let's add audio. Nothing in there for Glasgow, never mind. If I put Celtic in there, this Celtic moon. Yeah, nice. I like that. That'll do. Stick that in there. Now, if I play this.
Hi, and welcome to
my Celtic soundtrack is drowning out my wonderful voiceover. So I'm going to bring my soundtrack volume down to about, yeah, that'll do. And I'll also fade it out at the end as well, so I can sound very pro. Bring this playhead back to the start.
Hi, and welcome to my infographic on key data from Scotland.
Nice. And there we go. You've made a video from your work. Wonderful stuff. Now, if you want to download this, you can. I don't think anyone in your school wants you to download videos, but you can if you want to. 720 would be enough resolution. You don't need to do more than that, I don't think, unless you're playing it on some kind of absolutely enormous screen. But then the share options are still there, you see. So let me just explain how this works. Don't forget that we've got 2 pages here. And when we did our first page, which was this infographic here, yeah, we pressed share, and we pressed view only link, and then we published it, right? But now what's happened? Now we've added a video to it as well, okay? It's our video in here as well. And so this link needs to be updated, okay? It needs to be updated. So I'm going to update that link, and the copy link will still be the same, but until that link is updated, it's still only a single graphic, yeah? But as soon as this finishes its work, it will say link updated or something similar to that. And then when I refresh this page, there we go, that should be done, I think. Republish your link to reflect changes. That should be done now. Let me just check. Now, look at this. We've got page 1 and 2. We've got the data, the infographic, the static graphic on 1, and then
Hi,
we
and
go to
welcome
2.
to my infographic.
So this is how you can
key
share work
data
without
from
going
Scotland.
through the nightmare of having to store other files, know where they're located, blah blah blah, all the rest of it. Okay, and hopefully you see that within, just like, what did we do? Like 3 or 4 little things to turn this from a graphic into a video. It's pretty simple, really. Anything else on that anybody would like to ask? Anything there, Ruth?
I think we're all good at the moment. I'll put up my hand if anyone types anything in and let you know.
I
No
guarantee
problem. I've
everybody
stunned them
is
into
currently
silence.
playing around with that AI video.
Ah, nice. Yeah. I've stunned them all into silence. Yeah, that's cool. I mean, another thing that you can do as well is, it would be probably worth showing this as well. So, like, Janice isn't floating my boat. I'm like, nah, Janice, not today. I'll delete her as well. Maybe I'll go back to, oh, this would be interesting. So let me go to my first graphic, right? And I want to get my bagpipe man back, yeah? So I'm going to go and select him in the layer stack. Go to the 3 dots, copy him, select my video, and then I can right click in the gray, or I can just use the keyboard shortcut of Control and V. Let's paste him in. Right, he's back in there. He needs to go down on my layer stack, because at the moment he's actually on top of my text. There we go. He's gone behind now. He's gone behind the cross as well. And now, rather than any video recording, so what did we do first? We did record yourself. Remember that, when we recorded ourselves in there? Then we said, nah, that's not good enough. Let's do an animate characters thing. We made sure the background was transparent. That's cool. But if you're like, do you know what? I don't want to do either of those things. That's absolutely fine, because you can also go to audio and record a voiceover instead. So I'm going to I'll use my headphones. I'll keep the enhanced speech button on. Well, actually, I don't need to. Don't need the extra processing time when I'm using Microsoft Teams at the same time. And then do start recording. Hello, and welcome to my data on. Nah, that was wrong, wasn't it? So just cancel. Yeah, delete recording, rubbish. And then let's change it back to AirPods again, start recording. Hello, and welcome to my infographic on key data on Scotland. Finish recording, nice. And then, that's all gone kaplunk. Let me bring it back in here. Okay, interesting. So what I did here was, I recorded my voiceover, but my playhead was not at the start. And so what it's done is, it's put my voiceover in, but it started at the end. But it's dead easy. You can just click, drag this back to the start, Now, what you will see down here is my voiceover is 6.4 seconds long, but my graphic is only there for 5 seconds. So all I have to do is click and drag the end of it until it's just past the end of my voiceover. Nice. And then also, I might get rid of this scene as well. So I'm gonna, oops. Sorry, hang on. I'm gonna get rid of this scene by clicking the 3 dots, deleting it, and then hello and welcome to my infographic on key data on Scotland. There you go. So there's 3 different ways in which you can approach that kind of video elements of it. I've made sure that there was always a soundtrack in there. Don't forget that your soundtrack will always need to be like 15-20% so as not to drown out your voice. But the 3 ways in which you can get your students or your pupils to put a bit of their own sort of vibe on there is by going to media. You can record a voiceover, you can put an animated character on there, or you can record yourself. And if you do record yourself, rather than remove the background, you can put yourself in a circle. Hello and welcome to my key data on Scotland infographic. So if I put that in there, then what you will see is that there's a little crop button here. And I can crop myself to an oval, say, resize that down, bring myself nicely in the middle, about there, hit return. And that's a kind of an easy way which you can, make sure that your students are in fact, doing what they need to do. And pop that in there if you want. I mean, that I would never, doesn't suit this infographic at all. I'm just showing you what you can do with it. Okie dokie. I think that's probably enough mind bending for the day. So, any questions or comments at all? Anything that someone would like me to just run through on the screen quickly before I stop sharing? Okie dokie. I think that's it, yeah.
So I was just going to make a wee comment there around a few people will, if they have played about, may have discovered the kind of pre-made bits, the templates that you can use. And I suppose
Yes.
thinking about Lorraine's question, that's where the understanding of that stack is so important, because it will be layered in a certain way if you've chosen a template. So I just think that's a useful thing to point out.
Yeah, that's true. So like if I wanted a timeline, say like I was doing like World War II or something like that, right, I want to do a basic timeline of what happened or what kicked off World War II or something, then I could search timeline in here. I could go to templates and then search. And these are good. Don't get me wrong, these are good. And you've got one for World War One here, which is pretty good. But you probably do want to it's a customized template. You probably you got a massive stack of stuff in here. So you want to know, like, okay, 1914, where is that? Okay, it's there. Cool. And you can select them and it will spin to it in your layer stack. But I mean, this is one of the things templates are good, but they also have, sometimes they can be confusing. So I think until you actually get to grips with, okay, what is this, what is that, and all the rest of it, then a timeline, even for your students, might be quite confusing. So I definitely prefer to learn from scratch. I think even if you're doing something really basic, learn from scratch, and then you can go in, and once you know how to use things, you can go in and mess around with templates. If you want to learn from scratch, Ruth should put this in the chat if she doesn't mind. Come along to one of our live lessons. We do things all the time. What have we got coming up? Mental Health Week is this week. Got a couple of Welshy sessions as well. Next week is Black History Month. We've got a Premier League special towards the end of the month. Halloween live lessons, and then also Ruth, can you put this one in the chat? adobe.ly/Scott45 lessons. Now this is the pièce de résistance. This is an ebook which we put together with 45 Adobe Express lessons for the Scottish classroom, all linked to the Scottish curriculum, lesson plans, video tutorials, pupil handouts, and all of these things are covered. So you're going to be doing one of these things, if not multiple of these in your class. Well, we've got every single thing that you're going to need for it. So if you're doing Egyptian mummies, for example, got a lesson plan, video tutorial, which you can play in class, is an example of what you'd make, like an infographic of how mummies are made. But there's 45 of them. They've got to work somewhere. So yeah, click on the link that hopefully Ruth has put in the chat, and you'll be able to get all of those as well.
I will also send over an email because I know it can feel very overwhelming with all of the different things. So I'll send over an email with our 45 lessons. We also have an Express link, so if you don't mind jumping onto that a second, Dom, I'll just be able to walk you through it before we go off. And this is basically the link where you will be able to find everything that you need. So you can jump into our live lessons. We also do additional trainings throughout the year. So if you want to join in and get, something specific, you can also jump into the ACE training there. We also have multiple groups where you can join and sort of share ideas and any other additional questions that you have as well. But there's so much in there to take on board as well. But our live lessons are really, really popular. So you'll do it along with the whole class with Dom and Meredith, Meredith also does it.
Absolute joker. Absolute charlatan. Kind of what he's doing here.
So I will share over all of the information with you afterwards in an email, and then just how to sort of join and become part of our community as well. So yeah, there's so much, and that was just such a small part of all the amazing things that you can do within it. So please do. We've got another session coming up as well. So please do get signed in November. So please get signed up for it. And we'll go through even more of the different tools that we can use. And it would be great as well if if you are coming to that next session, just to have a play around with what you've done today. And then from there, we can really just build on that. And, if you have any examples of what the students are doing in the classroom as well, that would be really, really cool to see.